An ongoing worldwide societal issue that has been carried on for centuries has come off the back burner and is now plastered into all over social media and into every conversation: racism. The Black Lives Matter movement has forced its way into 2020, causing turmoil across the globe. Racism has been thrown into the heated discussion, and even at most times has been the most heated discussion amongst them all. The movement has even reached the Democratic and Republican Party, being one of the most prevalent topics spoken. Previous generations have met milestones by strategically fighting for the rights of people of color, of those rights being the right to vote, ending segregation, and implementing better educational systems for minorities. But even now, as a nation, we still continue to face countless of murders, arrests of innocent, unarmed people, victims, due to the crippling fault in our justice system, and many instances from the overpowering and unrelenting shadows of racism. And although efforts have been made, we need to create equal opportunities for minorities and put an end to racism. There's still a tremendous amount of work in progress that must be made in order to develop a more just society, which includes recognizing and understanding of the everyday complications that minorities face. Social media is a big part of our lives. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. On Twitter, we see how videos go viral with just a simple retweet. Or on Instagram, we see our friends reposting a video that they saw from a bigger social media platform. The media is starting to release more and more videos and containing raw footage, and is giving us, the community, the viewers, real life people, an insight of all the many troubles that minorities face in their day-to-day lives. Things have become apparent that African American males have a fearful and visible existence in the presence of law enforcement officials, especially when compared to that of Caucasian males. Yes, indeed, there is a higher percentage rate that Caucasian males are being shot and killed by police, but it does not take into consideration the ratio of African American males being killed by the fear of analysis. It also does not take account into the fact that the population of Caucasian males greatly outnumbers the population of African American males per city capita. According to the Statistics Research Department, the rate of fatal policy shootings among Black Americans was much higher than that of any other ethnicity, standing at 32 fatal shootings per million of the population as of September 2020. This proves that the occurrence of police shootings affect African American populations at a much higher disproportionate rate than that of its Caucasian counterpart. Of those videos from social media, a lot of them show police brutality. And police brutality is not a hard concept to understand, and it is defined by the usage of excessive force. In an article titled "Excessive Force and Police Brutality," written by the Fine Law staff, they define excessive force as situations where government officials legally entitled to use force exceed the minimum amount necessary to defuse an incident or to protect themselves or others from harm. This abusing power is employed by law enforcement officials more and more often, and thanks to the popularity of technology and social media, these occurrences are now being recorded and brought into the light of the public. Let's talk about Rodney King, a victim of violence and a representation of this violence. In the memorable 1991 story of Rodney King, CNN states, King is beaten by LAPD officers after King leads police on a high-speed chase through Los Angeles County. George Holliday videotapes the beating from his apartment balcony. The video shows King being struck by police batons more than 50 times. A more disheartening video and an example includes that of David McCaddy. David McCaddy was a Louisville restaurant owner and a friend to his community. The New York Times states that many people were hiding and seeking shelter due to from law enforcement due to the curfew that the National Guard and police had enforced in Louisville, Kentucky. But it wasn't till moments later where David McCaddy took his last breath. The New York Times says, moments later, he lay dead, killed by a single shot to the chest. 2 police officers and 2 guard members had discharged their weapon, firing about 18 rounds. This shows that even 29 years later, nearly 3 decades, police brutality has still not ceased into existence. In addition to police brutality, racism has been carried over into other aspects of society, such as in our social justice system. As one goes through the social justice system, they first begin by getting detained. Once they are arraigned and detained, or once they are arraigned and a set type of money is set for bail, this is where the problem stems. A person of color, African American or Hispanic, is highly more likely to be sentenced to jail without trial than any other race. Wendy Sawyer from Prison Policy Initiative speaks on the race impact during the pre-trial and states, as of 2002, the last time the government collected this data nationally, about 29% of the people in the local jails were unconvicted. That means that they were locked up while awaiting trial or another hearing. Nearly 7 out of 10, 69%, 70% of these detainees were people of color, with Black being 43 and Hispanic being 19.6 defendants, especially overrepresentative compared to their size of the total U.S. population. Another example of the flaw in our justice system would be the countless of people that are facing life in prison with no parole for possession or usage of marijuana, when it is now legal in 11 states and 22 if you have a medical marijuana card. We hear about stories, sadly, of police brutality. We see them on the internet. We know people that have experienced this. Same with experiencing or encountering our social justice system. But yet through all those video proofs, a lot of people still don't believe it's an actual thing. When someone screams Black Lives Matter, someone will say all lives matter. And the propaganda that a lot of people like to use nowadays is the black and white flag with the blue stripe in the middle, which is now a symbol for backing up the blue, or Blue Lives Matter. For centuries, a huge societal issue in every community has been racism. Slaves, segregation, civil rights, all have been issues that minorities have had to deal with for their entire lives, including today. Minorities, people of color, they all have trials and tribulations that they face every day. African American males being harassed, violated, murdered by the hands of those who are to serve and protect them. As of June 8th, 2020, Congress passed the George Floyd Act and Policing Act, which states this bill addresses a wide range of policies and issues regarding policing practices and law enforcement accountability. It includes measures to increase accountability for law enforcement misconduct, to enhance transparency, data collection, and to eliminate discriminatory policing practices. Slowly but surely, this generation is making the change, and it will make an impact from now on. Thank you.